Those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all nerds! International. With the hyphen.
Alright, YouTube and my Patreon subscribers, it's Mr. Mean coming back at you today on this lovely Monday afternoon about 2 o'clock on July 30th. This month has flown by. I don't know where all the time went. It's just here today, gone tomorrow. So I wanted to make a quick video for my Patreon subscribers, and the rest of the YouTube peoples will get it next Monday when it goes out to them. If you want to see these videos earlier, do yourself a favor, like and subscribe, and follow me on Patreon. You can join for as little as $5 a month to a maximum of $15 a month. Different levels, do everything. You can see it all there in the link that'll be in the doobly-doo, as Matt Colville says. I totally stole that from him because I like it. I'm also going to put today's show notes in the doobly-doo for this. Today's video du jour, Mythras, or Rune Quest 6 without the Rune Quest, if that makes any sense. This is pretty cool. If you're an old-time grognard, you remember Rune Quest, Glorantha, the BRP basic role-playing game. That's where it has its roots. This is a great game. And just like BRP, this game doesn't have a setting. There's all the information to run the game, to create a campaign that you want to play in, but there are no default settings like magic equals X. It is all up to the player and the GM. So this is a sandbox. It's just generic fantasy rules, very good rules I might add, but very generic. There's no setting, and I think what happened is Design Mechanism, they had the rights to Rune Quest 6, and I believe they actually published Rune Quest 6, and then for whatever reason the rights reverted back to Chaosium. Same guys who make Call of Cthulhu and Elric, which is basically the same mechanics. They cleaned up the mechanics a little bit. They made some changes. I believe this went to Kickstarter and did well. I can't confirm or deny that. Sorry, my computer's giving me fits here. But it did well, and it did well. They came out with a book. Rune Quest 6, I believe, is available for purchase, but I think it's being resubmitted, reissued with the Chaosium logo on it. If you go to the Design Mechanics website, they've pulled down everything that says Rune Quest 6. I don't believe there were any hard feelings. I don't think there were any shenanigans. Just for whatever reason, the folks over at Chaosium wanted it back, and Design Mechanism gave it back to them. But I think something went along the lines of, hey, we developed the rules, we cleaned them up a little bit, can we still use them? And from my understanding, Chaosium said, sure, you just can't put Glorantha on it or Rune Quest 6. And sorry for the noise. There's an idiot with a noisy truck going by. That's the only problem living right here. It's a great house, but Lake Avenue, what I live on, is a very noisy road. But unfortunately, we're in the middle of summer here, and you need your windows open to get some airflow because there's no central air here in central Duluth. Anywho's, so they decided to come out with Mythras. It's really well done. We'll go through the book. This was published in 2016 by Design Mechanism, Pete Nash, Lawrence Whitaker, and friends. There's a nice foreword in it. Doesn't really tell you a whole lot, but it's nice. There's some play testers. There's a cool about the cover. They tell you about the character on the cover. This female, I can't think of the name of them. The Warriors. Drawing a complete blank. But anyway, she is the character. She's even on the back, as you can probably see. And she is denoted as the default character that they use to clean up the rules and tell you everything that's going on. So there's a blurb on the back. I'm not going to read it this time. Sometimes I read it, but I think this is a good book. You should get, if you're looking for a sandbox game system and you like a percentage-based system and you like a lethal combat system, or realistic, I guess we could say, this is the game for you. It's got great mechanics. It's well written. I haven't found too many typos. I've read that much of the book so far. So I've read a little bit over half. Cover to cover. Cover to half. The art is sparse. There's not a whole lot of art. You can see that their design budget went to producing the game and not, paying for art, which I'm okay with, because the art that is in here is clear and concise and definitely conveys a theme. And I like it. It's all black and white. There's no color pages. It's on heavy stock paper. I think it's not super heavy, but it's decent quality. It's hardback. It's got a good spine on it. It's stitched and glued. If you can see it there. It's very well put together. I like the cover. I like the back of it. Like I said, it's very well done. The font is clear and easy to read for these old eyes. So if you're a grognard like me, it's easy to make out. And what's cool about this is, because there's no setting, there's none of those rules to get in the way. But there's plenty of rules in here in the aspect of character creation, combat, traveling, magic, building and selling things, mercantile, all that stuff is in here, which is really cool, and I like that. Let me see if I can find it good. I don't think they have too many full page arts. So here's how they denote a chapter heading. It just, in this case, it says sorcery, and the same thing, they'll have a little piece of art up at the top that says combat and character creation and la-di-da. So the art is like I said, few and far between. Here's some element or some mysticism art, whatever. So like I said, just black and white drawings. Well done though. Definitely convey the theme of the game. Mechanics. This is a percentage-based system. So if you've played Call of Cthulhu, if you've played Elric, if you've played basic role-playing, then you pretty much know how to play this game. They go very clearly, step by step, on how to create a character. I made a mage, because to me the sign of a good system is how hard it is to make whatever the hardest class or archetype is to play. And in this game, I think it's magic. And so I made a mage. I made a sorcerer, and no problems. Piece of cake. Just follow the steps. You go to the magic system. You pick some spells. Boom, you're good to go. There's some rules that you and your GM will need to work out as far as how magic, what magic is and how it works in that world, your GM's world. So, like my GM, my friend Darren, is planning on running this, which is why I picked it up. He's planning on running a very low magic world. So I made a sorcerer just for shits and giggles, for my own edification, to learn the system, because I think that's a great way to learn mechanics and learn how the game works, is by creating characters. So, but he's like, don't get too attached to your sorcerer, because I may not allow magic, or it may be very, very rare. And they give you guidelines for that in here. So this is a one-stop shop book. You don't need anything else. Now, you want to go crazy, and you decide you're going to have a high magic world. You want a token fantasy, or you want a Dungeon and Dragons type where there's high magic. You can always pick up the magic book. This is for the basic role-playing game, but it works in here as well, and it expounds upon and goes into much more depth on magic for the BRP system. This is a $15 book. You can get it off of Chaosium's website, or your favorite local game store can order it for you. So that's an option there. If you want it, you can pick that up. And like I said, there's also the basic role playing. This game does everything. You want lasers and sci-fi and spaceships. You want wizards. You want orcs. You want ninjas and medieval fantasy, or Edo era Japan. This is the game for you. This is a generic system. This is along the same lines, but this is more geared towards fantasy. That being said, if you go up on their website, thedesignmechanism.com, you can download rules for firearms. There you go. Now you've got the same mechanics, and you can do sci-fi. So it's just trappings. It's just flavors, switches that you turn on or off that you want to use for it. I think it's well worth it. I'm really liking where Darren's taken his campaign. We've only talked about the magic, so I may not play a magic user. I may just play... I'm really thinking of a fast fighter, a guy that uses like daggers or dirks, and he just gets in close and he just stabs you to death. So, 1,000 cuts can still kill. Whereas opposed, you get the big brute with one hit, which is great, but he's slow. Because one of the things in this game is armor has encumbrance. Encumbrance has a penalty to initiative. So you total up all your armor, you divide it by, I think it's 8. I don't remember the exact mechanic. But and then that's the number that you have an initiative penalty. So if you're wearing no armor, you have no penalty. You roll your d20 and add your initiative bonus. And someone making a fighter wearing like heavy leather armor, so I can move fast and not have much of an initiative penalty, would have the advantage on someone wearing like heavy plate armor. Now the difference is armor subtracts from damage, so you go from there. But a dirk is made to penetrate armor, so there you go. So there's the combat system is very very flexible, and you can tailor it to the way you want. It's a 3d6 to make your characters for most of your stats. I think 2 of the stats are a 2d6 plus 6. So you're not going to be starting out, amazing. Your average on 3d6 I think is 11, which is the human average. The default character race in the game is humans. So if you want to play anything else, you might have to look at other supplements or something to get that information. But it doesn't, like I said, it's just a sandbox. It's just, you have an idea for your world. You have the Tal'Dorei campaign for D&D, but you don't like the D&D rules. Mythras, done. You've got a world book. You don't need any of the crunch. You just need the fluff, and you've got your sandbox with all your rules. You're good to go. Eberron. You want to, I've heard some complaints about the new Eberron book that just released or is about to release, and it's very disappointing because Eberron is near and dear to my heart, and I'm really liking this series. So what I might do is run my own game in Eberron using these rules, because the magic rules in here are fantastic. It's almost like Genesis. Of course, it's a different type of mechanic, but you make your spells. They give you a list of spells, so you want, your go-to fireball. It's in here, but you have to shape the spell if you're a mage, if you're a sorcerer. So you shape the spell. You have so many points to spend. You have the shaping skill. I won't get too deep into the mechanics, but you spend those points to shape your spell, and then that's your spell. So you can increase duration. You can increase range. You can increase the number of people affected, that kind of thing, just by spending those points. Your shaping points, also based on how well your skill roll is, will dictate how many of those points that you can use. It is a percentage-based system. You want to roll equal to or less than, but you still want to roll high. So if you have a 65, like the character I made has a 64 invocation, which is the skill sorcerers use. I have a 62 invocation skill. So if I'm trying to cast a spell, I want to roll my percentile dice, and I want to get a 62 or less, but I also want to get really high, so like a 61 or a 60 is great. Now the flip side, if you roll an ought 1 to an ought 5, I believe it is, or ought 6, that's considered a crit, and so that's a critical success, as well as if you roll a 95 to 100, that's a critical failure and bad things happen. So it's a very unique setting. I think I like it a lot. It's been years since I played basic role-playing from Chaosium. It's been years since I played Call of Cthulhu. It's been years since I played Elric, and I have the box set of Elric somewhere. And I even have the Hawkmoon supplement and the Cormac supplement. They're in boxes, I believe. I haven't gotten the old stuff unpacked, and I don't think I will because I don't obviously have shelf space. So that's Mythras. If you have any questions or comments, put notes in the bottom there, or send me an email at jpolak@gmail.com. Love to talk about it. I'm also on Discord, and I have a channel, and the link will be in the doobly-doo down below. As always, it's also on my YouTube channel, so you can click there and subscribe. What else is going on, Mr. Mean? Let's see. Those of you that have watched my channel for a while know that I dabble in miniature games. I love painting miniatures. I love miniature games. I'm a huge fan of Malifaux. Wrath of Kings is another one that I really enjoy. So I dibble my toes in the miniature field quite a bit. So a little segue here. I went out and I got Kill Team. And you say, Mr. Mean, you hate Games Workshop. You have nothing nice to say about Games Workshop except that they make fantastic miniatures. Because they do make really cool miniatures. Well, I've been watching this since they announced it a couple months ago. And Kill Team's nothing new. It's been out since, I think, 2016 in various forms. But this is a skirmish game. And again, if you look at the miniature games that Mr. Mean plays, Malifaux, Wrath of Kings, Dark Age, they're all skirmish-based games. Frostgrave, skirmish-based game. This is skirmish. This is 3 to maybe as max, I think, 20 miniatures if you're playing like Imperial Guard or Gene Stealers. But low model count. GW has their new CEO or head honcho has really been working very hard to change the public perception of Games Workshop. And by that I mean few and far between are the $30 single miniatures. Now they do have their fine cast, their resin cast, a lot of their character models. I looked at some Primark at the game store today, and he was $32 for a single miniature. But I believe that's an older miniature, and that's under their old price scale. And of course, the store still had like $68 for 5 Space Marines and Terminator armor. You know, I get it. It's Terminator armor. It's a lot of lead, a lot of plastic, whatever it is they're made out of nowadays. But that to me is just outrageously expensive. $11 per miniature. That's ridiculous. When I can get a box of Frostgrave miniatures, you know, and I can make 10 miniatures, have a bunch of stuff left over, or excuse me, 20 miniatures, have a bunch of stuff left over for $25. You know, it's plastic and the miniature quality. To me, the Frostgrave miniatures are just as good as the Warhammer 40K miniatures or fantasy miniatures. So anyway, I got, for the greater good, man, I've always been a huge Tau fan. So I picked up the box set. I got 3 of these guys for $27, but I actually got it for free because my local game store does a voucher card, and when you spend X amount of money, you get $10 off your next order. Well, I had that card full, and then on top of that, I had $20 in store credit because I sold some old RPGs to him that I have duplicates of. Like Dark Conspiracy. I had 2 copies, so I sold it back to him, and I wound up making $20 in store credit. So that $20 in store credit combined with the $10 discount I had, these miniatures were actually free. So these are the Tau. Man, can I tell you, these things go together so well. And half the fun for me is putting them together. I really dig putting miniatures together. I love the Frostgrave miniatures. Even if you don't play Frostgrave and you want some cool fantasy miniatures, maybe for your D&D game or your Mythras game, pick up those Frostgrave box sets. The Knolls are fantastic. I think they're better than the D&D Knolls. So anyway, and this is the third guy. So I got 3 of these guys. This guy's going to be my leader with his little special cannon there. And then you get one. You get in the box. In the box set, you get those 3 miniatures with some bits and everything. There's not too much. You get that extra gun. You get a mark light marker. This is just where you put down on the field to mark that somebody's been marked or that's a spot. And then you get 1 drone. And what I've been reading so far is the Tau excel at drones. So this is one of the drones. And you can get all different kinds of drones. Let's see if we can get that to... There we go. You get all kinds of drones. So that's one of the drones. The cool thing about the Tau, the cool thing about any miniatures, you can paint them any way you want. You don't have to paint it. I have a number of miniatures that don't have anything to do with the game I'm playing, but I just like the miniature. And so I think with these guys, I'm going to go with a black scheme. I'm going to paint them black, a very matte. I'll gloss. I can't talk. I will base coat them black, and then I will go over with a dull black, pick out their armor, and then I will highlight the edges in like a dark gray to, you know, and I picked up that trick from Warhammer TV from the gentleman that paints on there. And then I will paint like their shoulder pads and their insignias and stuff bright red, like a blood red color. I think they're going to be black and red because I think that just looks very striking on the board. My future is to pick up the Ministorium terrain pack, which comes with a board in it because you need a board to play this game. I think it's played on a 2x2. I've been watching a couple videos. I'm intrigued by it. I'm not a D6 gamer. I don't like games that use D6, but I love the miniatures. So far, what I've seen from the gameplay, I really like it. I've been watching a lot of Guerrilla miniature games. Ash Barker's, he's been covering Kill Teams a lot, and it's done really well. So that's just a little side note there for Kill Teams. But I definitely wanted to get a video out today to my backers. Thank you guys for backing me. I appreciate it. Please let me know if you get these videos, because I'm still new to this Patreon thing. And the way I understand it is it sends you a link that says, hey, the guy you're subscribed to has uploaded a video, and you get to watch it. If you guys are getting these videos, if you don't get it today or tomorrow, please let me know so that I can contact Patreon and figure out what I'm doing wrong, because I know it's on my end. But the videos automatically unlock on YouTube a week later. I can set the date on when they unlock, so there's no problem there. But I just wanted to make sure that my Patreon subscribers are getting it. And like I said, share it with your friends. Hey, this guy does cool reviews. He's very honest. Tells you like it is, you know. And if there's a certain game you want to see covered, your Patreon subscribers, you guys have the thing. Let me know. I'm trying to do this channel for you guys. You guys are paying for the content, so I want to hopefully give you your money's worth. Those of you that subscribed at the Uber Mini level, the $15 level, I'm working up an interview with Daniel Fox of Zweihander, and that should be going live soon. I'll send you the links so that you guys can participate, and if you want to. And then I believe Daniel's already given me a code for a drive-through PDF copy of Zweihander. And so one of you guys will get that. I'll do a drawing, and I'll let you know who won by email. And I think that's everything, guys. Share it with your friends. Help me grow the channel. As always, if you're not following me on YouTube, please go to YouTube and like and subscribe and share the videos. And like I said, this will go out next week to everybody else, but my subscribers get it today. So as always, peace and hair grease, and remember, be nice.